Welcome back. If you were watching some other lives of mine, or rather office hours or yoga practices, I am back live with you talking about freedom in discomfort, or finding freedom in discomfort. And there is so much to unpack, and I want to make it brief. And one thing, discomfort always comes up, be it speaking to you this way, be it waking up in the morning, be it getting somewhere late, or any other things, from being hungry to having to have a difficult conversation. As you can see, across the board, all over the place. And then these other parts that make us uncomfortable is when somebody says something that maybe feels awkward, or maybe there is something that we had an expectation of something and it wasn't met. So I just had this workshop called Welcome Discomfort, Welcome Freedom. And so it's very, very warm still, this thought around this whole subject. And obviously we've gotten in much depth around this whole topic. And what I want to just bring to you in just a few moments is the coping skills that we can establish. One is, you all already are doing it. We just want to bring awareness to how we're doing it. And most people that I have connected with today and any other time, when we deal with discomfort, it is something that takes us away from it. For example, when I have to wake up in the morning and this alarm goes off, I can either get up, get over with, or have that alarm come back in a little bit. So there's this postponing part. Then there is these other parts where we distract ourselves, that we don't want to face the discomfort that we're feeling, usually in a relationship with other people where we are supposed to bring it up, maybe a discomfort that we have, a conflict that we have, a disagreement, and to come back around. And so when we have these discomfort coming up and we actually take time out of our day, for example, in transition, we move into another environment, maybe we shifting gears, right? By instead of go, we maybe take a break and just sit for a moment, or we go for a walk, or we do exercise, or we do a lot of sort of different things. That sensation might dissipate. For example, I have a headache, and yes, I could take an Advil. Actually, no, I cannot take an Advil. I would have to take a Tylenol, because Advil I can take. Anyway, that's another story. And to just push that headache away so I can be fully here and I'm not feeling this pressure on my head. But in the end, the headache is still there, right? So there's only a few things we can really do, is have it pass by, which can sometimes, and I'm not suggesting this with migraines, to let it pass through. Sometimes taking a nap, closing our eyes, resting our eyes. Maybe, like in my case, it's probably because I've been talking a lot. For some, it was too much. For some, it was just right. My eyes were always open, so there wasn't much of like relaxation and quiet. So all these stresses can cause our body to feel a certain way. And when our bodies feel a certain way, the one thing we can do is to retreat, to pull back, and to go to places that we can feel a little bit more connected to what's going on, and maybe soothe it. Maybe there is water to be drank, right? Maybe I need to drink more water to help it. Maybe I need to eat something that will help it. And again, the only thing I can think of right now is take a rest. which is not going to happen till later. So for now, I'm just sharing this with you. Anyhow, the whole point of this discussion and this conversation and for you to think about is how do you describe discomfort? How does it show up in your body? Is there ever a sense in your body that you just want to get rid of? Like, for example, this headache, right? I can't just take it off and leave it, or I can't just talk about it, or I can't even just rest and then it goes away after maybe 5 hours sleep, maybe, yes. Anyway, so the point isn't about the discomfort in itself, it's about what is happening in our body first. Then we can maybe make sense of what's actually going on, and then we can talk about an action that we can take. And so I was actually reading out of one of these books, Love Notes, and it's listen, breathe, and react, or respond, whichever you prefer. So again, it's those three things, right? First, take in what is happening, what's going on, listen, feel it, take a moment, take a breath, and then you can get this sense of responding, reacting, taking action. That's what it really is, right? And so here are just some brief experiences I had in the past few days that caused discomfort. One, for example, was holding a presentation, a showcase that I didn't even know what it was really for. I thought it was just like showcasing something, and here I was. And then all of a sudden there was like, oh, just go through the slides and then we'll talk about it. And the slides didn't give much information. And so the response was some, supportive criticism. What is it? Whatever, you know what I mean. Non-judgmental, and to help me to improve, right? But then there was this part on the other side that felt guilt, or that was inappropriate, or I don't exactly, it doesn't really matter. It was just like they felt something that it was too much. And I could have taken it as too much. So whenever there is a discomfort coming up, be it with yourself or someone else, all we need to do is check in. Like, why does it bother me? Does it even bother me? Like in this case, it didn't bother me at all. Not because I didn't care, but because it was expected to have a certain response coming back, right? So therefore, I didn't expect the discomfort, but that's what happened. The other thing that happened is what I just mentioned. I had this workshop earlier, and most people, 6 out of 7, great experience, loved it, will come back, awesome. And one person said, I talk too much. So when we're taking this into consideration, usually we focus on like, oh my God, I talk too much, I should talk less, here I am talking again. And then again, it's like, well, not everybody's gonna love you. And so we have to accept those feedbacks. And that's where it is important to be able to differentiate between discomfort that is harmful and discomfort that is useful. Most discomfort is just discomfort. There isn't much about it. There is not a certain way you don't have to do anything with it. But what happens is that we feel uncomfortable, and when we feel uncomfortable, we want to do something about it. We want to get rid of that feeling. We don't want to feel it at all. But when we take a moment to feel those emotions, those sensations that are coming up, we recognize that they actually go by much faster than we anticipated. So, long story short, you will discover discomfort. You will experience discomfort no matter what. And sometimes the solution is to avoid it, though I do not recommend this. My approach is to listen, to breathe, and then think about what would be a wise choice to take on and move on with that. So instead of negating away from it or removing ourselves from that experience, dive right into that feeling. Before you react or respond, just get in the sense of like, ugh, this feels nasty. Ugh, I don't want to feel this. And stay just a tad longer than you usually would and see if there isn't a piece of peace and freedom that comes from it. So, with that said, for me not to talk too much here, is to really explore these discomforts that we're having instead of going into that reaction mode by avoiding, distracting, or numbing it. Because in the end, we're actually only postponing it, and it will harm us even more later. And so, yeah, there's not much more I'm gonna say about this right now. One, I'm tired. I have this headache, as I said, although it got a little better already. And yeah, you know, sometimes life isn't all flowers and roses. And so sometimes we gotta take on whatever makes us uncomfortable and work with that. And when we work with that, there is the freedom within this. Because if we're seeking freedom outside of ourselves or going to the next thing and hoping that that will give us that, you know, release of tension, we're actually going to surge longer than if we just stay with it for a little bit longer. So take that breath, let go, feel those sensations, let them come and let them pass by, and thank yourself for allowing yourself to experience these emotions that come with discomfort or unsettling feelings. So with that said, have a wonderful Wednesday, whichever day this is as you're watching this. I hope this made sense. So next time you feel a discomfort, before you negate away from it or around it or postpone it, just take it on and see what it will bring to you. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time.